And I'm just going to check the waiting room real quick. It doesn't look like we have anybody that hasn't been admitted yet. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start, and hopefully people can keep me on track because I'm also going to need to keep an eye on the waiting room. So if anybody notices somebody waiting and I have not letting them in, please holler at me, okay? So I believe that we are recording. Did you guys all get that notification? Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. As most of you know, we usually take the first half of the meeting and we run through a little bit of business. We talk about things that are going on campus, and then we also, in the second half, have our school update from our head of school and guest speakers. So I would just ask if folks would mute their audio unless they actually need to talk. That way, the recording will be more clear for people who are going to watch it afterwards. Um, well, let's start with some quick interruptions. Introductions. I am Kelly Voyages, and I am the president of the Family Association this year, and my son is a junior right now. So I know I see Margaret on here, so I'm going to turn over to Margaret real quick.
Hi, I'm Margaret Cohen. I am the treasurer this year. I have two kids at Gregory in middle school and upper school, and I'm happy to see so many people on our Zoom tonight. Welcome.
And do we have Jill? Zach?
Hey, I'm Zach. I'm the volunteer coordinator and also stoked to be here and see a bunch of people as well.
Great, thank you.
All right, I'm Jill Jordan Spitz, have a 5th grader and a 12th grader. Little sick.
All right. And then Tanis is running just a little late. I'm not sure she's on here yet. And she is our vice president this year. So let's just go ahead and run through our usual business. The first thing we need to do is get our minutes from last month approved. So if I could get somebody to make a motion to pass that. You can unmute yourself if you like.
Motion.
Thanks, Zach. Can I get somebody to second that?
I second.
Thanks, Christina. All right. All in favor? There is a link to the meeting minutes from last month, by the way, in the chat. There's also a link to the agenda if you didn't already see that. So if I can get all in favor of approving the minutes from February, please. Thank you, thank you. And any opposed? All right, we're going to go with minutes are approved. Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to Margaret if you have a budget update. I'm not sure that there's much to update since last month, but I'll let you speak to that, Margaret.
Correct. There's really nothing new since we reported last meeting about the winter formal. So I don't really have any new information, but I just want to let everyone know again that if anyone ever has specific questions, please reach out to me. We're very happy to entertain any specific questions that we don't have a chance to kind of get into at the meeting. And we look forward to our big events coming up. We have the Spring Family Dinner, which is another one of our kind of big expenditures that we're heading into, and I think we'll hear about that a little bit later.
Great, thank you. All right, and I had a request to repost the, oh, did we get that? I hope that's it. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm a little fragmented because I'm trying to attend to the chat, the waiting room, and also move through our agenda.
I don't think we voted to approve the minutes.
We did actually. We approved them.
I'll take care of the chat, Kelly. Sorry, I'm late.
Will you? Okay, thanks, Tanis. Appreciate
No problem.
that. All right. Well, thank you. as is typical for spring semester, there is a lot going on over the next few months. So, coming up first, and you'll see this on your agenda, is the Parent Experience Night, which is Adventures and Explorations this semester. And that is, as a reminder, coming up on March 25th, starting at 6 p.m. I'd really like to thank the TGS admin and faculty for working with us and putting together such a great array of classes that are available this time around. And what we want to do is we want to encourage folks to sign up. So I'm just going to run through a quick review of what that night is going to be like. And I think, Allison, if you're online, then you are going to talk about the dinner a bit. So to remind you, this is an adult only experience, just like last fall. It starts at 6 o'clock, where we'll have a brief check-in, and then at 6:15 we will have the first session starting. We have, if you would put the link in the chat if somebody hasn't already. It also was in the email that went out last night as a reminder of the meeting, so there's plenty of slots still available. So the first session will actually start, the class will start at 6:15. It runs until 7 o'clock, and then there's a dinner break. And then the session 2 classes will start at 7:45 and run until 8:30. And the dinner break, I know, Allison, I think you're going to talk about some specifics on the food and beverages, but we are looking to have it arranged so that dinner is available from 6:45 until 8 o'clock. That way, if somebody signs up, because you can just sign up for one session of classes and you can come for the dinner, and that way you can come a little early for the dinner if you like, if you're just coming for session 2, or you can stay a little later after session 2 starts if you've come for session 1 and had the dinner break. I hope that's clear. If Allison, if you were on, did you want to talk about the dinner?
I'm on. We are working with Opa's Best, who has catered with us before to provide a wonderful meal for everyone. Nina Hernandez has been helping us with the catering aspect of this event. She is also getting quotes from either a dessert truck or a coffee truck to also have and provide coffee and treats for us that evening. So there'll be plenty of food. And I did check the signups earlier today. And if you were hoping for sushi making, there are about 3 spots left on the second session. But I think that any of the Fab Lab spots with Dennis Conner are already gone. So if you want to get on there now, I also know that Dr. Blute is hoping to rent some instruments and teach some people some beginning band or beginning orchestra instruments. So there's a lot of fun spots left. I checked, pickleball's almost full. There's a couple spots in dance and yoga with Miss Reynolds. It should be a really fun evening.
Great, thank you. And I see the link is there. If you have any questions about it, feel free to email the FA. I know that I have gotten a couple of emails. A couple of parents have said they've had trouble when they wanted to switch their slots or cancel because they realized they had a conflict. So if you have any trouble with that, just email. We can do it on our side, and then we'll make sure that you get an email confirmation of that if you're having trouble with that. All right, well, thank you. If there are there any questions about Parent Experience Night that folks have right now? Okay. Well, I would like to turn this over to Margaret once again to talk about a new event that we're looking at organizing for next month.
Great. So on April 16th, we are planning to have another parent meetup similar to the one that we held at Teaspoon for a coffee hour. This one is going to be at the Shelter Bar on Grant, and it's going to be a kind of parent happy hour. It's going to be at 6 p.m. on April 16th. Some of you might know that the shelter is owned by a TGS parent, so we will be supporting one of our own. Kevin Brutzman is very happily welcoming us. We're going to have a kind of a private area inside the bar. This is a pay your own way event, but we will, the FA, I think, is going to provide a little bit of like snack tasties, but it'll be pay your own way at the bar. We're also going to have some kind of like parlor games, some fun things to get to know each other. So we really want to encourage parents to come out, meet each other, hang out, have a great time. We were very happy to host a coffee hour in the morning. So now we're happy to have an evening event to try to offer different times for different people's schedules. So we hope to see everyone there. And of course, if you have any questions, please always reach out to the FA email and we will get back to you.
Great, thank you. Just waiting to see, make sure we don't have questions arising. Thanks, Margaret. I think that should be fun. We haven't tried to organize something like this before with all grades. So we're hoping that with some advance notice, just like with Parent Experience Night, if you have some advance notice, you might be able to make arrangements and join us and get a little time out, even a little date night. So what I'd like to do is move on to our committee coordinators and class reps. And because we want to talk about the Spring Family Dinner, I'm going to start with Lori, who is spearheading the Spring Family Dinner effort as well as a class rep, so that she can talk about both of those things.
Thank you. Which one would you like me to talk about first? I suppose the class reps, or
what would you start with the Spring Family Dinner? That way we get kind of the all school things out, and then we can go into the class rep.
Perfect. Spring Family Dinner is coming up on May 7th. It's usually a pretty fun night. The dance performances happen after the dinner. I seem to recall the dinner's really only an hour from previous years. So it's relatively short. In the previous years, we haven't done a ton of decorating because it really is an hour. But there is help needed in planning for decorations and counting tables and communicating other activities that are happening around campus. I've been making a poster every year. If someone else wants to take that on, that's okay, but I'd be happy to do it again. We've also worked with Noelle at Sage to do food each year, and I assume that we're going to do that again. But I haven't talked to her about it because I'm still trying to find enough volunteers to have a conversation about what we want to do as far as a theme and a food theme. So that's where I am on that.
Lori, can I ask you to just talk a little bit more about all that happens that night?
Oh,
so
yes.
folks understand the full evening.
Right. Well, I mean, so the dinner is the big thing, but there is a lot going on that night. That's right. So is it the orchestra that plays or the band that plays? One or the other.
Typically the jazz band, I think.
It's the jazz band that plays at dinner, which is really very nice. Last year, at least, the fifth grade did presentations on the things that they had been learning throughout the year in the cafeteria, which was fun to go in, as I have a current fifth grader who got to see the sorts of things that he was going to be learning this year. So that was really fun. Miss Carlson had an art show out in one of the small courtyards outside the theater, which was really nice. There was a writers club that were showing off their self-published books, I seem to recall. And there were some other things, but I can't remember now, thinking back, everything that was there. It feels like there is a space that can be provided for any club that would really like to show off some of their skills in a way that they don't otherwise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If anybody else would like to add to that, I know that.
Yes. Photography had a photo show, I'm seeing in the comments. I had forgotten about that. So that's true. Very cool.
Like to help? Do they contact Lori?
Yes. And that is my email address is my full name, loricoan@gmail.com. But it will probably be in the newsletter also. maybe.
Yes, it can be.
So
Okay.
can I put it in the chat room, Lori?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
One second. Um,
And
okay.
the invitation for that will be going out um, in the near future. Probably it'll come out next month.
Yes.
And so watch for that invitation as well. So even if you're not helping, watch for the invitation to attend because that is one event that we do ask for RSVPs so we can get a count for the food.
True. Spring family dinner. Um, contact. Okay, one second. So last weekend, sorry, I'm doing two things at once. Um, Last weekend, the fifth grade met at Udall Park from 1 to 4 p.m. Two families brought snacks. No one requested that. They just brought them and it was lovely. And I'd say half the class came. That was about a dozen kids. They had a really fun time playing on the equipment. I brought two stomp rockets. They were shooting rockets up into the air. They were playing with other kids who just so happened to be at the park. But the parents really seem to enjoy getting together as we often do. And this has only been our second get together. I say only, but I don't know that everyone does. It's not a requirement or anything, but it just feels like we all would have loved to do it earlier, but things keep coming up. So when we left, some parents said they'd like to come up with ideas for another one before the end of the year. So that was a success.
Great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right. Who else do we have on here this evening that is a committee coordinator? I think the main event that's coming up is the spring family dinner. So if we don't have athletics on here, um, do we have Fernanda on here by any chance? Um, Okay, then I will just briefly mention that we've got the spring musical coming up in what is that? That's not next week. Is that next week? Holy cow. Okay, that's next week. Next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday and Friday, 7 p.m., and Saturday at 2 p.m. Do I have that right? Okay. So get your tickets online or get your tickets at the door. This is Mary Poppins the Musical. And so I don't know about band and orchestra performances that are coming up. Do we have anybody online who could mention that? I know Lori's looking it up. I'm going to just move on, and when you get it, Lori, you let me know, okay? So how about other class reps at the grade level? Do we have other class reps? Or Zach, did you receive any reports from anybody that you want to share?
Um, Puneet and Angel had updates. I see Angel's on. I don't know if she wants to share.
Do you want to go ahead and share, Angel? Are you there, Angel? I know you wanted to share something for the junior class.
I don't see her on.
I know I
Here,
admitted her
but
at one point.
I can share about the junior class because I helped reserve the space, if that helps. Puneet and Angel have been planning a service project for the junior class that's going to happen on April 10th. It's an early release, so it's going to happen right after school. So they're working with Ben's Bells and inviting all of the 11th grade students to come do some kindness coins after school that day.
Okay, I just admitted Angel again. So, Angel, Allison was just sharing about what you guys have organized. Would you like to speak about it?
Hi, guys. I'm so sorry. I've been driving, so I lost you multiple times. Yes, thank you, Allison, for speaking up. We're hoping that all the 11th graders will join us on April 10th. It's an early release, and we're going to have Ben's Bells come, and we'll do some kindness coins and learn about their project that they have going. We should be able to get everybody out at regular time so they can do their after school activities, and hopefully they won't miss that extra time that they would have had off. So please encourage your children to do it. And we do need some volunteers to help us chaperone the students. So if you're able to do that, please let us know. And thank you so much.
Angel, how many chaperones do you need?
Let me see. I think if Puneet can come, then we probably need like another 3 or 4 would be nice.
Okay. Okay, well, we can go ahead and put that in our section of the newsletter. I know you asked about a sign up. If you want to do a sign up, we can. If we just need a few folks, I mean, I think I could probably come that day. I'll double check. So we might be able to get a few people for you pretty quickly and easily
Perfect. That would be
without
great.
even needing to do a sign up. So,
That's fantastic. And then we'll have some snacks for them as well. Hopefully that will encourage them to come.
okay. And this will be
And
immediately after the early release, correct?
correct. And it'll be in the dining hall. And I just want to thank Allison and the administration for helping us out with this activity. I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Angel.
Christina would like to share about the choir performance.
Yes, please.
Hi. So for choir, this is what I have. So on April 28th, there will be a choir performance at the Gregory School. I do not have the exact time, my apologies. But what's really exciting is that on May 2nd, there are going to be two back-to-back concerts, which is the community concert. If anyone recalls, there was one on the fall of 2024. And it really gathered a lot of community members from our school and from St. Michael's and all the angels. And they had the people from the Tucson Symphony Orchestra come and participate. So this is really exciting. It's going to be May 2nd. There will be an organist along with an orchestra, and um, many of the choir students from TGS will be participating. There will be a 3 p.m. and a 7 p.m. performance. And the reason why they're doing two performances is because on the last community event on fall 2024, the whole venue was packed. So they want to accommodate as many people to be able to really enjoy the music, the singing. Um, and students at TGS have already been practicing that music. And if you are so inclined and would like to participate as a parent or anyone who, oh, who is interested in performing, just contact Dr. Fresalone. Um, and or maybe I can share the link to the form on the chat. Let's see if this works. So I participated in the fall of 2024, and it was really exciting just to see all the talent that our community has. And so that's the update that I have from choir.
Thank you. I see in the room someone put final band and orchestra concert is April 21st at 7. So if people want to mark their calendars for that.
Great. Thank you very much. Do we have any other grade level class reps on here that want to share? I think Sally was on. I'm not sure if folks have stayed on, but did you have
Hi,
anything? Hi there.
how are you?
All right. How you doing, Sally?
Good, good. Yes, well, eighth grade is graduating this year. So we have figured out a date. It's going to be the last day of school, May 21st, uh, right after their finals. So it'll probably last from about 3:30 to 7 o'clock. I have talked to two different venues, and right now it's leaning towards Funtastics. So, yeah, we think all the kids will have a really good time there. So, yeah, so that's what we're doing maybe for the 22nd, but we're definitely doing it that date. The other part is I know that the school sometimes gets buses to go to different places. And usually when I go with a bus company, they usually always want you to have like a 3 or a 4 hour, time slot or whatnot. So I'm wondering, does the school know of anybody that will just do like a pick up the kids from the school and take them there and that's it? Do you know if anybody has?
Uh,
Allison or
Sally, can you describe a little bit more of what you're referencing? How, like, what type of
Oh,
numbers are you referencing?
well, I'm thinking it's probably going to be a lot of the eighth grade class. So I'm thinking that instead of having parents trying to get their kids over to Fantastics right after the class, maybe
Right.
if we have like a bus come pick everybody up and then the parents can pick up the kids from Fantastics. And I already
Got
have
it.
some chaperones. So I think we're pretty much set there. So yeah, so I'm just kind of piecing everything together. So I'm wondering if the bus can only go like a one way, that might be helpful for us. But if not, then parents can take their children because I don't want to rent a bus for 4 hours when I really just need it for less than an hour.
Yeah, Sally, let's do some digging. If you don't mind, just shoot me a quick
Yeah.
email that literally just encapsulates a bit of what you just said, and we'll do some investigatory work on our side with our vendors to see if we can help you out.
Yeah, if not, it looks like Eve just said it. I knew this was going
Oh,
to be the right group to ask.
I mean, they're just like a school bus company. They'll do whatever you want them to do.
Sweet. Thank
If
you.
they're, if you,
Oh,
it's plenty of heads up right now. And so it's just yellow school buses, but that seems fine to pick up I don't work for them,
just one's a
but give
different
them a
time.
call. I'm sure if they've got the availability, they'll do it.
Perfect. Thanks, Eve.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
bet.
there's that. So yeah, really kind of focused on the eighth grade right now just because it's graduation, but soon we'll get started on the sixth grade, probably early next week, kind of see what parents are thinking. So that's kind of my updates.
Great. Thank
Gabby
you.
has put in the chat room that for 10th grade, she's planning on sending an email to parents this week to plan the end of year party. She's sorry, her dog is barking, so she didn't want to unmute.
Okay, great. Have we missed anybody that is on and that has something they wanted to share?
Kelly, this is Lisa Nelson,
Hi,
and
Lisa.
I already spoke last meeting about the grad night, so I'll keep it very short. But just yesterday, we received all the 12th grade parents something in the email from the list about grad night. So I don't know if anybody in the room right now has a 12th grader, but maybe somebody will listen to the recording that they should pay attention to that email because there's a lot of deadlines about the fee, the cost associated with grad night, the sending in pictures, because we're going to have some pictures in the background during their activities, and we're trying to ask all the parents to send in some pictures for that. And also the tradition that I mentioned last meeting, which was to send in letters of well wishes and thoughts for their graduating senior. So if anybody hears this who has a 12th grader, just pay attention to that email because there's some good information in it. So that's all.
Thank you, Lisa. And what about you had also mentioned wanting to get the lower grade parents to sign up as volunteers to chaperone that evening. Are you guys putting together a sign up, or is that something you want help from the FA on?
I really think that's a question for Rebecca, who's the
Okay,
actual 12th grade rep. I was just, as we were all speaking, I was thinking I would pop her an email about that because I know that message hasn't gone out yet for call for volunteers.
right.
So hopefully that'll go out maybe in the next newsletter, on an email, whatever is appropriate. But yes, everybody who's has kids in lower grades, we urge you to volunteer to help chaperone that night. And you don't have to stay up till the wee hours necessarily. So just keep your eye open for that. And it's a way to pay forward that sometime in the future, those parents from lower grades will be chaperones for your graduating senior because they do not want their parents there. That's the important thing.
Right. Okay, great. Thank
Any
you
other
so much.
grad night questions? I'm happy to do my best if anybody has a question.
Do we have any questions for Lisa or about grad night?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. And do we have any other grade level activities or reports from anybody? Anything on athletics? I don't know if Gina's on. I don't recall seeing her name. Or if Angela's on. Or if anybody has anything about athletics that's going on that we need to report on?
There's an athletics calendar, so there's a lot of things going on. I think like volleyball for high school and tennis and middle school basketball and track and like you see kids all over the place, so it's pretty cool. So I think if anyone wanted to attend, they could just go look on the website and look under the athletics department, and then they have a calendar of events.
That's perfect. Thanks, Janice. All right. Well, if we don't have other questions or other reports, what I'd like to do is start by handing this off to James for our head of school report. And then I think, James, you'll also take it into our guest speaker presentation about AI. So if you are ready, sir, I will hand the reins to you.
Kelly, born ready. How's everybody doing? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hopefully, you have your feet up and you are a bit rested in whatever location you are in. Thank you for the time, Executive Committee, because we have a lot to share with you. We, meaning the division heads and I, but first we're going to start off with my head of school report. There is a lot going on campus, behind the curtain. And one of the biggest things I want to thank you for is always your receptiveness to the messages that go out and your click rates, even. Not to steal any thunder from Alicia Sapoznik, our Director of Communications, but thank you for reading the last newsletter that referenced our security updates and some of the things that we have moved forward with before even the submission of, or the approval of, probably better said, the approval of our visiting team report. We wanted to make sure that we're taking the necessary steps to keep all 368 of our little ones and all the 55 plus of our faculty members safe on campus. So I thank you for your partnership and your support with those efforts and for reading the information that goes out. Excuse me, I typically do not read from notes, so forgive me for my rapid eye movement as I'm going to read from a few notes just to make sure that you get some of the general updates. We recently hosted the Ramacac College Fair. That is the Rocky Mountain Association for College Counseling. Let's do that one more time. Rocky Mountain Association for College Admissions Counseling. We had about 80 colleges attending, 95 students in total, 13 parents, and we had 40 total registrants for TGS, but 32 attended. We can actually see the people who came through due to the technology that we utilized. We had the highest amount of attendees out of all of the high schools that were represented, and I believe we have 15 different high schools represented. The reason why I reference this, one, is obviously the college preparatory piece. We want to make sure that we're always making visibility for our colleges so our students have chances to access. I saw 8th grade students in the space, 9th grade students, 10th, obviously 11th graders as well, but also being a beacon for other school communities in a variety of different ways. That's a part of some of the outreach that we're getting into and that we will continue to do, is making sure that 3231 North Craycroft is not a bubble, and that we actually create ourselves as a resource for Greater Tucson. Moving forward, I did just reference Lee Hark in the visiting team. Lee Hark is our visiting team chair. I know it seems like it was ages ago, but it was just in September when they came and visited us. They presented our findings to the committee, standards committee, on March 5th. I should have that information back within the next 2 weeks. After that time, it's not like we're going to be able to present immediately. We're going to be able to vet that information with board of trustees and then come together and gloss over some information so we're able to publicize as we come into the next school year. So we have a lot of information that will be given to us. We want to make sure that we diligently and deliberately go through that information before presenting it and committing to that work to the greater community. So as we come into the fall of next year, we will be very visible and transparent with that information and what we're doing to make sure that we're meeting our goals, but also celebrating the commendations that come from that report as well. Sorry, I had to go back to my notes, y'all. A couple of the other things, division head messages, as we talk about communications being read, the once a month division head messages are absolutely phenomenal for you to get a sneak peek directly into what's happening in the day in the life of your child in the respective level. Also, if I give a little bit of a carrot to the communication that is forthcoming post spring break, that is where you'll start to access and see more information about course requests. Yes. Next year is almost here, families. holidays. I know we want to just jump into summer break. We have to pause for the cause. We have to intentionally plan for what next year is going to look like for your child and for our student. So when we get back from spring break, you will receive a communication from our respective division heads. Please make sure that you read that diligently and thoroughly, as they will have information about how to access the course request process that we have been refining, that we have been tooling with, and that I think you'll be pleased with, especially as we get to registration day. We've been doing a lot of work behind the curtains. One of the things that I want to affirm is what you have heard as well, and that's that sense of community. You know, the Family Association is a direct extension of the staff of our school community. And I just love the fact that the focus and that the impetus of the work that is taking place revolves around bringing families together for a common bond. You are raising your children together. You should know one another. We have 368 students on campus. Those are not too many students to be able to know, not just the people who are within your grade level. Lori, I love what's taking place with fifth grade. I enjoyed the donuts previously, and it's good to know that folks are continuing to connect in different spaces and places. Y'all, please continue to look for ways to connect with one another. And I thank the executive committee for thoughtfully planning a happy hour. You said the magic words to me, which are happy hour. I will be there as well. You can count on it. I put it on my calendar. So I'll be short with that bit of my time. I want to make sure I answer any questions that are available before we transition to the presentation portion of this time together. Any questions at all? The last thing I will share with regards to my update, admissions is booming, families. We will have an update for you a little bit later, but what I can tell you is that we have had so many shadows on campus. We have far exceeded the level of inquiries and applicants from previous years. We have had some very intense admissions decision committee meetings as we try to make sure that we are making this opportunity available to many families in the greater Tucson area. I am so excited by that. And I have to follow up with, or else Mary Babbitt would tell me I missed an opportunity, re-enrollment. Families, we have 74 families that have not re-enrolled. Roughly, that's about 20 that have either not signed a dual contract or have followed through with their process. If we have any senior families, I love the fact that Lisa Nelson reached out to senior families. Senior families, please make sure you're following through with re-enrollment. We know that you want your child to be here for the culmination of their journey. That also allows us from an admission standpoint, if I'm being lack of levity and I'm being straightforward to you, we know how many seats we can offer prospective families. So please follow through with your re-enrollment. If you're having any struggles with Blackbaud, if it's their financial situation, please reach out to us. Please follow through with that so we can make sure we're creating this opportunity for those who want it. Okay. Quick transition. Let me pull up a separate set of notes. Excuse me. All right. So last year, I was in the role of a director of admissions and enrollment management in a school in Atlanta that was doing some great work and forward thinking. And I had the opportunity to attend a professional development hosted by Eric Hudson. Eric Hudson works for, or used to work for, the National Association of Independent Schools, and one of the leading voices for artificial intelligence in independent school classrooms. I would encourage you to look him up and follow any of the different resources that he provides. That conversation provided a catalyst for that school community that I watched from afar. So I was so excited when I transitioned into our school community to know that the same conversations were taking place, right? That folks were excited, galvanized, and wanted to get ahead before they were behind about the conversation of artificial intelligence, specifically as it related to our classrooms. So I want to affirm the folks you are going to hear from in just a minute, Allison Jacobs and Beth Kane, who mobilize troops. One of the things about our independent schools is not just the investment in our students, which is our priority, but is also our investment in our faculty. They took it as priority to ensure that the faculty members who were interested in becoming trained, more aware, or even those who were skeptical had an opportunity to receive professional development as it related to AI and how it could be utilized within our different classrooms. So a cohort of educators from TGS this summer went to a professional development training. I believe it was a 4-week training, some of which was in person, some of which was online, if I'm correct, that allowed them to take a deep dive in different pathways. I think there was even one for those who were skeptic, those who were immersed in the work, those who were a bit novice, and those who had dipped their toe in but haven't had a ton of experience. So there were different pathways for your level of education as an educator, regardless of your academic discipline. And we had two of those leaders actually present last night to our board of trustees, and their presentation was met with rave reviews. We were not going to ask them to double down tonight. We are going to collectively represent some of the work that they have done, but that is Dennis Connor and Katie Peterson Snyder, who represented last night, and they did a phenomenal job. One of the things that they immediately did once they came back from their training was think specifically about our community. So they sat with the division heads and myself, and we talked about the different ways to create faculty buy-in, not about creating or moving forward with any form of policy, not whatsoever, about starting to have a conversation about what this looks like on our campus, AI, and what this looks like in different academic disciplines. Okay, that's what the conversation this summer was. So, how do we breadcrumb this experience for our faculty members in order for them to tangibly even start having conversations about this work? So, that's where we started in August, and Beth is going to provide a bit of the roadmap of the intentional work that took place to get us to where we are here. And one of the things that I want to clarify that you'll hear, so we don't have a question in the middle of the presentation, is position statement versus policy. A position statement declares an organization's stance on a specific issue or topic, different from a policy which sets mandatory rules and standards and guides behavior. So we want to make sure that we are intentional about the work that we're doing and also about what we're asking of our greater community. Beth, I'll leave it to you to provide a bit more of the visuals and details about the specific work that took place.
Thank you, James. I'm going to attempt to share my screen and show you all what the committee has created, which is a roadmap towards getting to that place that James described, where all of our faculty members and our student body can come together and have a equitable use of AI. So the committee came up with these steps, which are very gradual and also very deliberate and very intentional to lead our faculty and our school community towards a responsible use of AI. So I'm not going to read all these to you, but you can just see that it was a way to begin talking about proper use of AI in the classroom, presenting it, first of all, to our admin team, and then talking about presenting to the faculty. And this would be the teachers who attended the workshop this summer. And then working about creating a committee to review, and as James said, policy versus position. So this was not anything where we were getting into policy yet, but looking more about creating a school position statement, which was step 3. And then looking at how that position statement might apply in the broader school community. So all of this happened during faculty meetings in the fall semester as we worked together, creating a survey, getting feedback from faculty members, working with entire faculty, working within departments, and then creating this roadmap so that we could find a way to get to creating that eventual policy statement. Step number 5, the AI committee began to flesh out a little bit more of what those roles and responsibilities would be. And then step 6, we had some semester long department work that began at the end of the fall semester and is continuing now. So as each department is looking at how does an AI position statement apply to their department. Obviously, if you think about our different academic departments, something that's important in the English department as far as an AI use or a policy statement is going to be very different from what the science or the math department might realize. So talking within departments became very important. Right now, we are between step 6 and 7. We're not ready to communicate to students yet because we have faculty members that have come in with various degrees of comfort level with AI use, various degrees of ability using AI in their classrooms, and various belief systems around the ethics of using AI. So as we've had these discussions in departments and in divisions with faculty members, and as we've crafted a position statement, now is the time to begin working on actual policy so that that can be shared and communicated with students, and then eventually step 8 with parents, and then to continue with our ongoing work. Because as Dennis Connor, who is kind of like our resident AI expert, explained last night to the Board of Trustees, artificial intelligence is going to change continually. It's always morphing and evolving. And so creating something static is not going to work for our school community. So we have to be able to approach this in a way that's very flexible and very user friendly as we move forward and figure out how this is going to work for the students in the future. So that's a little bit of where we've been and how the work has been progressing over the past academic school year. So I'm going to pass this off to Allison Jacobs, and she's going to tell you a little bit about faculty surveys and where we might be going at this point.
Thanks, Beth. So one of the things the committee noticed, and I know that Beth and I and James have noticed also, is that comfort level in faculty has changed throughout this year. We started these conversations in the fall, and our most recent conversations, we've seen a lot more openness toward how to embrace AI. It's not going away, as Beth said, and it changes daily. So how do we embrace it? How do we learn from each other? And how do we continually make sure that our students are not losing those critical thinking skills along the way? Because that's important to all of our teachers. The most recent work that our departments did was think about in with students and with the adults on campus, what's acceptable use of AI and then what's not acceptable use of AI. And as Beth mentioned, department to department, that looks a lot different. It's a lot different in the English department where we're really thinking about developing those writing skills, especially in our youngest learners, than maybe in Dennis Connor's computer science classroom, where he is dealing with actually re-looking at his curriculum as the future of these computer science students looks a lot different now that AI is on board. We also talked about faculty usage on campus and staff usage on campus. There were questions that came out. Is it acceptable for faculty members to be using AI to write comments or check comments? There's a lot of little bits and pieces that we've had teachers share with us that in fact, Katie Peterson Snyder shared a great example last night of looking for questions for lit circles in her classroom, and AI can come up with these 45 wonderful questions, but then that teacher needs to go back through and make sure that that's what they're looking for their classroom. So we just have to determine, what's acceptable for our teachers to be doing, what's not acceptable, and with those students too. That next step is then coming together and deciding on policy. And the committee shared with us, and we knew this too, that we weren't expecting to have any policy ready this year, right? We're going to be continuing looking at this policy and working it into our student and parent handbook so that we can present to students next year what those guardrails are that will be that overarching umbrella, but then those departments will be allowed to monitor and kind of pare down those guardrails to what they need for each department. So that's where we're at right now. We've been taking a pause because even though this work is very important, as James mentioned, it's March. We're getting into curriculum work and course guides, and we needed our faculty to pause and make sure that we can work to make sure we are ready to go after spring break with course requests. So we're taking a little pause, but we'll get back to it as soon as we can.
Another position, excuse me, I just spared a bit of the question. And we do, Eve, I appreciate that follow-up. We do have something that we could share with you. Beth can share that with you in just a moment. I appreciate that. That was a part of my follow-up. Something that I left out was just the role of technology in our students' lives right now. We use technology as a tool currently in our school community, which I absolutely love. It's not the go-to resource. And what is very, very true is that we are working with students who are going to inhabit careers that have yet to be created. We are literally moving with this next generation as far as that educational component. But some of the things that we do is still tried and true character education, the ethical education as it relates to how to utilize this tool. What good is the most intellectual mind with an empty soul is something that I talk about often with our faculty community as it relates to our character education. We cannot just teach the head and not the heart. So a part of what we're also talking about in these conversations are what is the ethical component? How do we use this? How do we do it from a responsible? Thank you, Allison, because how we're embedding this is very intentional. It's going within the acceptable use, responsible use policy for our technology, which is also something that students already understand and can adhere to in their classrooms. So it's not like we're trying to do one more thing. What we're trying to do is obviously make sure that we're adaptive, make sure that we're flexible, but also make sure that we're intentional about our expectations of our students and, as Allison said very clearly, our faculty as well. So I'm sure that there are a few questions that might arise. So now's the time.
I have a question.
Please.
What I'm wondering, like the sources that we're looking at that are driving the position or the policy, are we looking at from a career standpoint? Like, is that the horizon? Are we looking at kind of cognitive science and what AI does to our brains when we become overly dependent on it? Like, what are maybe all of the above? I'm just curious about what's under the hood from the decision making process.
Yeah, what's under the hood right now is the usage within classrooms, very specifically, as it relates to the work that takes place in classrooms. That is our very immediate start. And I appreciate that question because there are different pathways that we could explore, but that is our immediate start. What are the guardrails necessary for acceptable, responsible use within a classroom setting within math, English, science, social studies, and world language?
Okay, I have a comment and then I have a question, and I'm really appreciative of all of the work that everyone has gone through. And so, one of the things is that I absolutely agree that technology should be learning tools for all of our students. However, I do have kind of like a hesitation when I hear that if a teacher is able to use AI to generate questions and then go back. However, I do know in some cases that, we can use talk to text to write, but if that has not been acceptable for students to use and everything needs to be written down by hand, I think there's a discrepancy there with teachers being able to use AI for generating questions. Or I think what I'm trying to get to is there has to be some definitions as to what tools the students are able to use and what's accepted.
Yeah.
And and also as a concern as a parent, my concern is that even with the roadmap is great and it's organized and it really explains everything, but there may be students who are philosophically against AI or use of AI and may not want to utilize it. But then you have other students who utilize it. And my concern is that it might create an academic gap of success.
So I appreciate that,
Okay.
Christine and Christina. I really do. I'm going to try to address the first question. I could probably better address the second one. The second one is the equity component, right? I think about math classes and how students are readily utilizing Desmos in certain academic disciplines, right? That's an equity level where all students are going to use Desmos at the same time. There isn't a student who's going to try to calculate those mathematic equations by hand. So from an equity standpoint, everyone will use Desmos to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And actually, who we just had come in to speak to our faculty was Rosetta Lee, who talked about inclusive classrooms, who talked about the utilization of tools. And forgive me, I'm going to go a little bit less technic-advanced. I'm going to use the example that she used, which was let's take it back in the day to our poster board or trifold science projects, in that she said, listen, Why have students do those projects away from school? Some students don't have the resources necessary to create the beautiful trifold that walks into your classroom on Science Fair Day. Why not
Right.
have all the resources provided here at school? So please know that our teachers are going to, and that's why we are thoughtfully and intentionally not only creating position statements, but thinking about in the usage. Our teachers are going to make sure that there is an equitable approach and a character-driven approach, because I appreciate the value-based approach, a value-based comment that you made. 100%. We do not want to create an inequitable experience for any of our students in the classroom. So I appreciate you bringing that up. The first part of what you brought up is that from a workflow standpoint, if I'm going to be honest with you, and I'll be very transparent, the newsletter article that you all read was not written by AI, but I'll be very 100% the grammar was done by AI. I had grammar check it. Okay. I'll be very transparent with you. So we do have different ways that our adults thoughtfully and intentionally and character driven wise utilize the tool, different from how we're going to engage a pre-adolescent whose prefrontal lobe has yet to develop of how they utilize that tool. So I hope that gets to the academic expectation for our faculty, and that please know you don't have a bot teaching your classes. You have an ethical human who has an advanced degree. And we're going to teach your student how to do the same exact thing that our educators are modeling.
Oh, I very much appreciate that you brought the grammar check. And so I agree with you 100%. It's just a concern that if students choose to or not to use the AI, that might create a gap of their success. And so that's just my concern.
I fully hear that. And I want to make sure that you know that the equity component is top of mind.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You got it. As always, families, I truly appreciate your partnership. I say that authentically and genuinely. This has been an absolutely phenomenal year. If you talk to my leadership team members, they'll tell you that I continue to think I've been here past a year, because the transition that I had with 5 months already had me dipping my toes into our school community. But now that I am fully immersed, I need you to know that this is a breath of fresh air, our school community. I pinch myself every single day. I want to thank our division heads for their day-to-day leadership. They do a phenomenal job of steering the ship. And I want to thank you for your partnership in the executive committee. Thank you for creating these opportunities for our families to engage.
Thank you, James. And I want to thank Allison and Beth and James for being here tonight to present on all of these topics. As always, if there's anything that has been spoken about during our meeting, feel free to email fa@gregoryschool.org with any questions that you ever have. We will go ahead. I know that Beth has shared this presentation, so we'll go ahead and make sure that folks have an ability to see that. I want to thank all the parents that were here tonight. And I also want to remind you that before you log off, make sure that our last general meeting of the year is in your calendar if you can come. On April 8th, it will be after drop off. So that'll be an in-person meeting at 8:35 in the boardroom. And I'm looking forward to seeing folks at the parent experience night and the other events that we have coming up. So make sure that you check your emails and or follow the links in the meeting chat and get signed up if you haven't already. Thank you all tonight. I appreciate you coming, and we'll go ahead and end the meeting here. Good night.